All right, today we're going to crack a classic GCSE higher tier maths question. We're going to break down exactly how an examiner looks at it using the official mark scheme so you know precisely what you need to do to get every single mark.
Okay, let's dive right in. We're looking at question 13. It's all about proportionality, and it's worth a chunky 5 marks. Our mission here is to figure out how to lock down every last one of those marks by really getting inside the head of the person who's marking your paper. So first things first, let's take a look at the question's structure. It's not just one big problem. It's actually 2 smaller questions rolled into one, parts A and B, and they test your understanding in slightly different ways. So you've got part A, which is worth just 1 mark for explaining your reasoning. Then part B is where the real action is. 4 marks up for grabs, 3 for a calculation and 1 for a quick sketch. We're just going to go through them in order, exactly like you would in an exam. All right, let's kick things off with part A. This is a classic spot the mistake kind of question. It's all about the fundamental definition of direct proportionality. Nadia's made a statement, and our job is to figure out if she's right. Now, on the surface, Nadia's logic sounds kind of plausible, right? There's a clear, consistent pattern. But, and this is the big question, is a constant rate of change the same thing as being directly proportional? That's what this question is really testing. Okay, so the official answer is a straight-up no. But, and this is super important, just writing no gets you a big fat 0. That single mark is what's called a C1, a communication mark. You only get it if you give a correct, valid reason for why she's wrong. So what does the mark scheme actually accept? Well, you've got a few options here. You could do a quick calculation to show the ratio y over x isn't the same for both points. You could state that the general rule, y equals kx, just doesn't work here. Or, and this one's a really great one to keep in your back pocket, you can point out that a graph for direct proportion must go through the origin, and this one wouldn't. Any of those will get you the mark. And this is where it gets really interesting, because this shows you the common traps. Answering yes is an obvious miss. But look at that last point. No, they don't have the same constant is listed as not acceptable. But wait a second, why? It's because it's just too vague. You have to prove it with a calculation, like showing 4 divided by 4 isn't equal to 8 divided by 6 to get that communication mark. Okay, let's move on to the calculation part. We're now in part BI. This is a 3-mark question, a very standard problem, and the marks are all about showing a crystal clear method. The absolute first thing you have to do, and this is how you bag your first method mark, that M1, it's to turn that sentence into math. Just writing down W equals K times the square root of T shows the examiner you know exactly what you're dealing with. Your second method mark, another M1, comes from finding that constant of proportionality, which we call K. You just sub in the numbers they give you. W is 140 when T is 64. The square root of 64 is 8, so you just do 140 divided by 8, which gives you a K value of 17.5. So now that you've done the hard work of finding your constant, you get to use your shiny new formula. W equals 17.5 times the square root of T. The final step is to just plug in the new value for T, which is 7.84, and find W. And boom, the answer you're looking for is 49. Getting that right there, that's your A1, your accuracy mark. But remember, you usually only get this if you've shown the right method, which is why those first 2 steps are so crucial. We're on the home stretch now, just 1 more mark to go, and it's for part BII, which asks for a quick sketch of the relationship. So what exactly does a 1-mark sketch need to look like? You get a blank set of axes, W on the vertical, T on the horizontal. You don't need to plot any specific points or anything like that. This is all about showing you understand the basic shape of the relationship, W equals K times the square root of T. It's another one of those C1 communication marks. So what are the examiners actually looking for? It's a simple 3-point checklist. First, your graph has to start right at the origin, at 0, 0. Second, it's got to be an increasing curve, not a straight line. And third, the curve needs to get less steep as it goes to the right. As T gets bigger, the gradient decreases. Tick all 3 of those boxes, and you've got the final mark. And that's it. We've taken apart every single piece of question 13. Let's do a super quick recap of how to lock in all 5 of those marks one by one. See, it's all laid out right here. Every single mark is tied to a very specific action you have to take. Giving that reason for no, writing the formula, finding K, getting the final answer, and then drawing the correct shape. It really is a clear checklist for success. Seeing the question from the examiner's point of view really changes things, doesn't it? It shows it's not always just about getting the final number right. It's about showing your work, communicating your ideas clearly, and hitting all those key marking points along the way. Knowing the rules of the game is how you win.